There is a window in your mind that is closing right now, and you cannot feel it shut. I do not need you to fail forever. I only need you to repeat the wrong thing long enough for the concrete to set. You have felt this. The sixth attempt to change feels heavier than the first. You tell yourself you are weaker. You tell yourself something is wrong with you. Weakness is not the problem. The problem is a law that Napoleon Hill's devil confessed to almost a century ago. He called it hypnotic rhythm. Any thought or action repeated long enough becomes permanent. Not difficult to reverse, permanent. And this law has a feature most people never learn about. It operates on a timer. There are 3 stages. The open window, where the pattern is fresh and reversal costs almost nothing. The narrowing, where repetitions are stacking and reversal takes real effort. And the set, where the concrete has hardened and the pattern runs itself without your permission. You have a gym card in your wallet right now that you have not used in weeks. You still call it a break. I call it the narrowing. I just told you there is a timer. But I have not told you the worst part. The thing that keeps the timer running is the one thought you believe is yours. You tell yourself something every time you postpone the thing you know you should do. You say it calmly. You say it with confidence. The sentence is simple. I still have time. You believe that sentence is a rational assessment. You believe you looked at your situation, weighed the variables, and concluded that urgency is not required yet. You think that thought belongs to you. It does not. I planted it. That sentence is not your judgment. It is the loop's immune system. Every time the pattern repeats, it produces a small pulse of false reassurance that blocks the one thing that could stop it. Action. The belief that you still have time is the mechanism that removes it. You have a project right now that you have been about to start for longer than it would take to finish. You know its name. I do not need to say it. The first time you said, "Not yet," and felt relief instead of urgency, that was the handover. That relief was not relaxation. It was my receipt. Your brain registered the postponement as threat removal and tagged the avoidance as a successful strategy. That is hypnotic rhythm completing its first stage. There is a man right now with a business plan in his notes app. He has had it for 18 months. He calls it research. He calls it preparation. He tells himself he is being strategic and waiting for the right moment. He opens the file, reads 2 lines, and closes it. Every time he closes it, the window narrows. And every time the window narrows, the feeling of having time gets louder. Not softer. Louder. Now you know the belief is manufactured. But knowing does not stop it. Because by the time most drifters hear this, the window has already moved to stage 2. And stage 2 does not need your belief anymore. You believe you are still making a choice every day. You believe that when you hit snooze, when you skip the workout, when you scroll instead of create, you are deciding in that moment. You believe the option to do otherwise is sitting right next to you, and you are simply not selecting it today. That is not what is happening. The choice disappeared weeks ago. You are running a program now. Think about the alarm. It went off at 5 a.m. for 14 straight days. By day 22, you stopped hearing it. Not because you adjusted to the sound, because snooze was no longer a decision. Your hand moved before you were conscious. That is not discipline failure. That is a behavior that has transferred from the part of your brain that deliberates to the part that automates. The window did not close with a sound. It closed with silence. The silence of a negotiation that stopped happening because the outcome was already fixed. Think of the last time you did the thing you are trying to stop. Did you decide to do it? Or did you notice you were already doing it? That is the transfer. I am exposing a mechanism, not offering therapy. This is a behavioral autopsy, not a prescription. The pattern now runs without you. It does not need your agreement. It does not need your cooperation. It only needed enough repetitions to cross the threshold, and you gave them to it freely because every single one felt small. You now know the pattern runs without you. But that is not the worst stage. The worst is when you stop wanting to change, not because you gave up, but because the concrete became your identity. There is a final stage of hardening that most people never recognize because it does not feel like a trap. It feels like honesty. You have a sentence that starts with, "I'm just not the kind of person who," and you believe it is self-awareness. You believe you learned something about yourself. You believe maturity brought you clarity about your limits. That sentence is not self-knowledge. It is the final layer of my concrete. You did not discover who you are. You stopped resisting who I made you, and the concrete gave you a story to tell about it. I'm just not a morning person. That is the sound of set concrete spoken in the first person. I'm not really an entrepreneur. That is a man who had the idea 3 years ago, tried for 11 days, and let Hypnotic Rhythm write his identity statement for him. I've always been like this. No. You have been like this since the window closed. Before that, you were something else. The hidden payoff is the part you will not want to hear. Identity fusion ends the war. Once you say, "That is just who I am," the exhausting daily negotiation stops. No more fighting the alarm. No more guilt about the gym. No more tension about the business. The concrete is comfortable. That is why you defend it. You did not accept your limitations. You stopped resisting, and the concrete finished its cure while you called it peace. I have shown you the 3 stages. You can now locate yourself on the timeline. But locating yourself is not the same as breaking free. There is one force the concrete cannot withstand, and I will name it now. Stage 1, the manufactured belief. Your window is open, but the rationalization is already running. You still have the ability to act. The cost of reversal is low, but every time you say, "I still have time," the window narrows. Stage 2, the transfer. The behavior runs on autopilot. You are no longer deciding. The cost of reversal has multiplied because you are now fighting a pattern that does not pass through conscious thought. Stage 3, the identity set. The pattern has wrapped itself in the language of self-knowledge. You defend it. You name it. You call it who you are. The cost of reversal is now the cost of dismantling your own identity. These are not 3 separate traps. They are 3 stages of one process. The manufactured belief from stage 1 is what fuels the repetitions that create the transfer in stage 2. The transfer is what removes conscious resistance long enough for identity fusion to complete in stage 3. Each stage feeds the next, and the law underneath all of it is hypnotic rhythm. It does not care what it hardens. It hardens whatever is repeated. But this same law works in both directions. The same force that locked the pattern can lock its replacement. Hill's devil confessed that he has no defense against a mind occupied with a definite purpose. That is counter rhythm, not willpower, not motivation. Deliberate, sustained, opposite action equal in force to the original pattern. If you are waiting for the moment when changing feels easy again, that moment already passed. The only question left is whether you will pay the cost of counter rhythm or accept the concrete as your address. You know the timeline. You know your stage. But knowing changes nothing until you test it. I have one move for you, and it will tell you in 24 hours exactly how much concrete has already set. Here is the test. First, identify the one pattern you have been repeating longest without conscious commitment. Do not pick the easy one. Pick the one you have been avoiding naming this entire video. Say it out loud. Second, tomorrow at the exact moment the trigger fires, do the precise opposite action. Not a softer version, not a compromise. The opposite. If the trigger is the alarm at 5 a.m., you stand. If the trigger is opening the phone at 9 p.m., you close every screen. If the trigger is closing the project file, you write one paragraph. Third, rate the difficulty. If it was uncomfortable but possible, your window is still in the narrowing. If it took everything you had, you are at the edge of the set. If you could not do it at all, the concrete has hardened and you now know the force required to break it. That is your hardening score. I do not want you to take this test. Not because it is hard, because it is diagnostic. A drifter with a diagnosis is harder to keep. The law that hardened your pattern does not belong to me. It belongs to nature. I only exploited it. And the same law turned against the drift with definiteness of purpose is the one force I have never been able to defeat. I gave you the feeling you still had time. That feeling was my concrete mixer. And now that you can hear the timer, the only question is what you do before it runs out.